Hello everyone, welcome back, or welcome to On Location here. Today I am at Griffin Family Nature Preserve. This is a pretty small nature preserve that's nestled in between this neighborhood and Evendale, Ohio. It's not a very big place at all. I do believe there's a couple of trails here, and I believe the longest one is about a third of a mile, to be honest, but there is a little bit of a creekside trail and one that takes you and leads you up to a wildlife blind. There's a pretty small fishing pond. And then all the way at the front entrance to the park here, the preserve, there's a paved path that takes you on a wildflower trail of sorts. But I'm here in February. It is actually pretty warm actually. It's about 60 degrees today. Very overcast skies. I can see the sun just peeking through the layers of cloud, but it's a very overcast and cloudy day. Almost kind of doom and gloom in a way, I guess. But I'm here for a little bit for this visit here. Pretty small place, and shouldn't be too long of a video, I think, unless if we get something really good today. But got my non-wildlife stuff here, my camera bag, and a couple lenses like my medium telephoto, my wide angle, and my 50mm prime lens. Even the macro setup, just because there is a couple of very early spring wildflowers that may come out in February here. I'm not quite exactly think I'm going to get any today at this visit at this location. I tried to look at some information online about this preserve. I didn't find too much, but as the name suggests, there probably was a family called the Griffins that owned this place and this land, and they have, I'm guessing, since passed or something like that. And they have since donated this to the public, of course, to enjoy. The trails aren't too strenuous. I'm kind of like on this, it's kind of a wet and slightly kind of muddy or damp trail here, but it's got some mulch and dirt. And hearing lots of bird song at the moment. And yeah, just noticed a deer browsing trail as well down here that I just passed by. I'm thinking some textures or abstracts, but like I said, if there's any spring ephemeral flowers that may be here at the preserve, we'll see, I guess. This is my second visit to this place in total, so I'm very new to this location. Let's go ahead. I'm actually on the creek trail. There's a sign right behind me here, and so that's where I'm starting out for the day. The wildflower trail didn't seem to have too much going on out by the roadside in the parking lot, but as I make my way back, I guess I'll check it out. But it's really just a grassy lawn with some trees wrapping around the entire path there. But these trails I'm more interested in seeing what we have to offer. All right, so this is probably gonna be kind of all over the place today, but I'm trying out this honey locust tree here with this just beautiful, kind of like a sandy green lichen that's all over, patterned throughout the entire bark here. And then of course the most obvious, I guess you could say, characteristic of a honey locust tree is obviously these very thorny branches that are just like jutting off of the tree itself. So I figured I'd try it out, break the ice for this visit here today. I'm doing a 50mm prime lens here. I'm at about 1/160th of a second, f5 and ISO 400. Shooting handheld, no filters or anything whatsoever. And trying to do it in live view mode, honestly, just to see how close I can get while still, of course, previewing it. Doing a vertical composition primarily, and really just focusing in and dropping the entire background out of focus, of course, with the depth of field to focus on the lichen and the maroon red, kind of brownish red really, color of these very thorny branches and whatnot. So pretty cool. I think it's a pretty nice way to do this. I just went up the hill here. Definitely a lot more strenuous than I thought. I forgot how hilly some of the sections are, even though these trails are pretty short for that matter. But I can hear the fountain down here with the fishing pond. I kind of peeked around the corner here, and it looks pretty frozen over except for the part surrounding the fountain of water here. So that's flowing pretty well. And you just get a nice kind of view of the horizon of the nearby city here and whatnot, and the nice trees and everything around here, especially up on top of this hill or whatever. See some nice, very beautiful, mature white sycamore trees, very, very white ones over there that are just really stand out in stark contrast to the rest of the trees, which are primarily browns and grays here in this landscape and whatnot. And seeing also a lot of owl pellets, to be honest, along the trail, just really discarded kind of feathery or hairy, tubular shapes or whatever of owl pellets and everything. So far so good here with this visit here. The light's very consistent right now, of course, with it being very overcast. And besides some distant traffic here, pretty much the only one out here, which is pretty nice. The trails are a little muddy, but not too muddy, thankfully. So it's not really like I'm trudging through like a horse bridle trail for that matter. But I'm gonna go down here and check out the pond, I think. I may take some images of these sycamores I'm looking at behind the camera here. We'll see if I can get a kind of like a good vantage point with on the horizon here. They're not super far away, thankfully, but there's just a lot of trees in the way, at least from up here on this elevation or whatnot. So let's go ahead and keep going here. So this is actually pretty awesome. I've been walking around this fishing pond. Obviously, with it being a fishing pond, you can walk around it usually. And yeah, I've been taking some abstracts of some of the like frozen leaves and partially frozen, just embedded in the layers of the ice here. And it's actually been really cool to do this. There's whole different kinds of leaves with like shapes and colors from different trees, obviously, and even some like exposed blades of grass. And some driftwood on the edge of the pond here. And it's just amazing how many images I've gotten. I've probably gotten about 6 or 7 different compositions of completely different subjects. Most of them leaves, of course, and natural plant matter, and some of the grass here. This side right behind me here, there's been quite a bit of different leaves and stuff. And like I said, some different driftwood and whatnot. I've been doing handheld once again, with the 50mm prime lens here. No filters, shooting handheld, doing about 200th of a second, f5.6 and ISO 200. Sometimes doing the live view just to get a better look, and I can move and prop up the camera up and down a lot more. Sometimes doing it through the viewfinder, looking through it, that is. And just really cool stuff, doing a top-down perspective, doing some of them at an angle. And I even did one of the edge of the water, as you can see here, but isolating just the edge of it, not incorporating the fountain or the grass behind it or anything else really for that matter, and just really creating these really nice textural kind of like abstracts and whatnot. Yeah, this has been really cool actually. It's got me really excited to go home and edit these photos and share with you guys. But I'm gonna keep going around this pond here. See if there's any other different subjects I can isolate and try out here. But so far it's been pretty nice. And like I said, it's been quite a surprise really that this is frozen over. But if you're here with me right now, you can feel the coldness of, I guess, the ice in the water, so it kind of makes sense why it's frozen. I guess they probably keep it from the fountain pumping in cold water a whole lot. All right, everyone, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Pretty much a short little, very easygoing hike, but I got lots of cool abstract and textural shots, which is always really great. And those are some of my favorites to photograph at this very small nature preserve here. Yeah, nothing too much else to it. Right behind me here is where I parked. Yeah, it's a very small little loop trail basically around the preserve here. And I just saw 3 white-tailed deer right before I started filming this, which is pretty cool. But yeah, it's getting near dark now, and I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Griffin Family Nature Preserve. Until next time, make sure to get out here. Thank you.